You have been loud with your pain, loud with your explanations, loud with your defense, loud with your dreams, loud with your wounds, loud with your faith, loud with your hope. And God says, it is time to change your posture. Silence is not weakness when God is your witness. Silence is not fear when heaven is your audience. Silence is not hiding when destiny is under construction. There is a season where God teaches a woman that her power is not in what she says, but in what He is building while she obeys without applause. You do not owe the world a preview of what God promised you. You do not owe your critics a progress report. You do not owe your enemies a confession of your strategy. You do not owe the past a voice in your future. When God says move in silence, He is not silencing your worship. He is disciplining your exposure. He is not muting your faith. He is protecting your assignment. You were never called to convince people of what God already settled in heaven. You were never called to announce what God intends to reveal. A woman of purpose does not argue with doubters. She outgrows them. A woman of faith does not explain her calling. She becomes evidence of it. There is a dignity in discipline, a royalty in restraint, a spiritual authority in knowing when not to speak. You have talked yourself out of peace. You have defended yourself out of alignment. You have tried to make people understand a destiny they were never assigned to steward. And God says, "Daughter, be still, not because you are weak, but because I am at work." Your results will speak louder than your explanations. Your transformation will preach louder than your arguments. Your obedience will silence what your emotions could never fix. When God shapes a woman, He does it in private before He displays her in public. He corrects her in the secret place before He crowns her in open places. He disciplines her heart before He elevates her platform. He strengthens her character before He increases her influence. You have been asking God for visibility while He has been asking you for integrity. You have been praying for promotion while He has been building your foundation. You want God to announce you while He is preparing you. And preparation always happens in silence. There are seasons where God removes your audience so He can refine your voice. There are moments when heaven shuts the doors so your spirit can learn to walk by faith and not by applause. You are not being ignored. You are being hidden. Hidden does not mean forgotten. Hidden means protected, preserved, and processed. The seed is silent in the soil, but the harvest speaks for itself. The womb is quiet, but the birth changes history. The altar is unseen, but the fire consumes everything placed upon it. Silence is not inactivity, it is incubation. You have been trying to defend your worth in rooms that were never built to recognize your value. Stop explaining yourself to people who benefit from misunderstanding you. Stop proving what God already approved. Stop chasing validation when heaven already affirmed your calling. When God said, "Move in silence," He was teaching you how to trust Him without needing witnesses. He was teaching you how to obey without applause. He was training you to walk by conviction instead of by consensus. A woman of God does not need to announce her strength. She walks in it. She does not need to declare her anointing. She carries it. She does not need to justify her standards. She lives them. She does not need to threaten her enemies. She outlives their predictions. When God is shaping you, He is not concerned with your popularity. He is committed to your purity. He is not trying to make you impressive. He is trying to make you effective. He is not polishing your image. He is refining your identity. You have been wounded by voices that never had authority over your destiny. You have allowed opinions to interrupt obedience. You have let noise distract you from the narrow path of purpose. And God says, "Daughter, enough. Silence the crowd. Quiet the comparisons. Mute the mockery. Shut down the fear. Walk with me. But me, obey me. Trust me. Let me finish what I started in you." You were not created to perform for approval. You were created to fulfill a mandate. There is a woman reading this who has been misunderstood, misjudged, underestimated, and overlooked. You tried to explain your heart. You tried to clarify your intentions. You tried to correct their narrative. And God says, "Stop. Your life will be your defense. Your obedience will be your explanation. Your fruit will be your testimony. When I elevate you, no one will need an explanation because your results will speak. You are not behind. You are in process. You are not delayed. You are being developed. You are not abandoned. You are being aligned. The pressure you feel is not punishment. It is preparation. The isolation you sense is not rejection. It is refinement. The silence you are walking through is not absence. It is intimacy. God is closer than the noise allows you to hear. When He asked you to move in silence, He is inviting you into a deeper trust. A disciplined woman is a dangerous woman to the kingdom of darkness. A focused woman cannot be manipulated. A quiet woman with clarity is unstoppable. When your mind is disciplined, your emotions are governed. When your spirit is submitted, your life becomes aligned. When your priorities are kingdom-centered, your decisions become powerful. Stop broadcasting your battles. Fight them on your knees. Stop announcing your next move. Let God orchestrate it. Stop seeking sympathy. Seek strategy. Stop feeding the noise. Feed your faith. You are not ordinary. You carry heaven's assignment in a human body. You are not defined by your past, your pain, your mistakes, or your failures. You are defined by God's purpose for your life. You are not here to fit in. You are here to stand out. You are not here to survive. You are here to rule in righteousness, to walk in authority, to build what heaven assigned you to build. But authority is not developed in public. It is forged in private. Character is not formed in comfort. It is shaped in obedience. Destiny is not activated by announcements. It is unlocked by alignment. God is raising women who are not moved by applause, not shaken by criticism, not seduced by compromise, not intimidated by opposition. Women who know who they are, women who know who they are. Women who walk in quiet confidence, holy boldness, and unshakable faith. Women who do not need to prove themselves because they are too busy becoming what God ordained. So move in silence. Let heaven see your tears. Let God hear your prayers. Let obedience shape your steps. Let discipline govern your desires. Let faith direct your future. And when the time comes, when God lifts you, when He reveals what He has been building, when He opens doors no one can shut, when He positions you in places you never imagined, your life will speak for itself. Your results will testify, your transformation will preach, your obedience will thunder, and the world will know that what God builds in silence cannot be stopped in public. Silence is not emptiness, it is alignment. When God calls a woman into silence, He is not withdrawing her from purpose. He is positioning her for power. Silence is the discipline that trains the spirit to obey before the mouth reacts, to listen before the emotions speak, to move before the opinions rise. A woman who learns holy restraint does not lose her voice. She gains authority. Authority is not built in public declarations. It is forged in private obedience. God does not entrust influence to women who cannot govern themselves. The kingdom does not advance through noise, but through submission. And submission is proven in what you choose not to say, not to reveal, not to explain, not to defend. There is a generation of women who have been taught that visibility equals value, that expression equals strength, that exposure equals progress. But God is restoring the ancient discipline of consecrated silence, not as repression, but as empowerment. Silence is not weakness when your identity is anchored in heaven. Silence is not fear when your confidence is rooted in God. Silence is not retreat when your obedience is moving forward. Silence is the womb where character is formed, where motives are purified, where the soul is trained to follow the Spirit rather than the crowd. Every word carries spiritual weight. Words can open doors, but they can also close destinies. Words can build, but they can also scatter what God is trying to gather. A disciplined woman learns that not every thought deserves a voice. Not every emotion deserves a platform. Not every revelation deserves an audience. You do not announce seeds, you plant them. You do not broadcast pregnancies, you protect them. You do not publish blueprints while the foundation is still wet. God hides what He values until it is ready to be revealed. When He says, "Move in silence," He is saying, "Guard what I am growing in you." Spiritual discipline is not glamorous. It is not celebrated. It is not applauded. It is often misunderstood and rarely admired. But discipline is the backbone of destiny. Without discipline, anointing leaks. Without discipline, gifts become liabilities. Without discipline, passion turns into recklessness. God does not promote potential. He promotes stewardship. He does not elevate desire. He elevates obedience. Silence trains the heart to submit when the flesh wants to perform. Silence teaches the soul to trust when the mind wants to explain. Silence aligns the woman with heaven when the world demands constant commentary. You have been in rooms where your voice was welcomed, but your destiny was threatened. You have been in conversations where your emotions were validated, but your calling was compromised. You have been in relationships where your presence was celebrated, but your obedience was sabotaged. And God says, there is a higher way. There is a posture that protects what I have placed in you. There is a discipline that will preserve you when popularity cannot. Silence is not isolation. It is consecration. It is choosing God's approval over human applause, divine timing over immediate gratification, eternal purpose over temporary relief. There are moments when the Spirit will check your tongue before He directs your steps. He will ask you to be still when everything in you wants to speak. He will restrain you when you want to defend yourself. He will quiet you when you want to clarify. And in that restraint, He is not suppressing your identity. He is refining it. Because a woman who cannot control her mouth cannot be trusted with influence. A woman who must always be heard cannot always hear God. A woman who feels the need to explain everything has not yet learned to rest in divine approval. Silence exposes what truly governs you. If you are ruled by emotions, silence feels like suffocation. If you are ruled by fear, silence feels like vulnerability. If you are ruled by pride, silence feels like humiliation. But if you are ruled by the Spirit, silence feels like safety. It feels like home. It feels like alignment. It feels like strength under control. Discipline is power submitted to purpose. Silence is strength harnessed by obedience. There is a holy economy in the kingdom. What you guard, God grows. What you expose prematurely, you endanger. What you speak out of season, you weaken. What you protect in obedience, you position for multiplication. God never entrusted his greatest works to public spectacle. Creation happened in the quiet of his word. Redemption was conceived in the secrecy of a womb. Salvation was accomplished in the solitude of a cross. The greatest moves of God were not broadcasted, they were obeyed. And when they were revealed, they changed everything. You have been asking God to speak louder, but he has been asking you to listen deeper. You have been asking for clarity, but he has been asking for consecration. You have been asking for breakthrough, but he has been asking for discipline. Silence is not passive waiting. It is active submission. It is choosing obedience over opinion. It is choosing faith over feelings. It is choosing alignment over attention. When God disciplines your mouth, he is preparing your future. There is a difference between secrecy and silence. Secrecy hides out of fear. Silence protects out of wisdom. Secrecy is rooted in shame. Silence is rooted in stewardship. Secrecy isolates. Silence preserves. God is not calling you to hide who you are. He is calling you to guard what you are becoming. Not everyone deserves access to your process. Not every ear is qualified to hear your vision. Not every heart is safe for your vulnerability. Discernment is knowing what to share, when to share, and with whom to share. Silence is not about saying nothing. It is about saying only what God authorizes. A disciplined woman understands that her future is too valuable to be managed by her emotions. She does not speak when she is angry. She does not decide when she is hurt. She does not announce when she is excited. She waits until her spirit is settled and her motives are purified. She submits her reactions to the Spirit. She refuses to let temporary feelings dictate eternal outcomes. That is not suppression. That is mastery. That is not weakness. That is dominion. There are battles you do not win by speaking. You win by standing. There are accusations you do not defeat by arguing. You defeat by integrity. There are misunderstandings you do not correct with explanations. You correct with consistency. Your life will answer what your mouth never could. God is teaching you that your character is louder than your words. Your obedience is stronger than your defense. Your fruit will outlive their opinions. Silence is the language of trust when you trust God. You do not rush to prove yourself. You do not panic when you are misunderstood. You do not collapse when you are criticized. You do not retaliate when you are attacked. You rest in the knowledge that God is your vindicator. You move with confidence that he sees what they do not see. You walk in assurance that he knows what they do not know. Silence becomes worship. It is saying, God, I trust you more than I trust my ability to explain myself. There is a refinement that only comes through restraint. When you choose not to speak, you give the Spirit space to work in you. You allow him to search your heart, to expose your motives, to correct your posture. You begin to hear his whisper above the noise of your own thoughts. You become sensitive to his leading. You learn the difference between impulse and instruction. Silence trains your spiritual ears. You have been in a season where God has been pruning your speech. He has been teaching you to pause, to breathe, to pray before you respond. He has been checking you when you want to vent, reminding you when you want to gossip, redirecting you when you want to complain. This is not restriction. It is elevation. He is preparing you for environments where every word carries consequence, where your influence will shape others, where your voice will either heal or harm. He is building in you the discipline required for destiny. There is a maturity that comes when you realize that not everything requires your reaction. Some things require your endurance. Some things require your patience. Some things require your obedience. The flesh wants to respond, but the Spirit wants to transform. The flesh wants to be heard, but the Spirit wants to be followed. The flesh wants immediate relief, but the Spirit is focused on eternal fruit. Silence is choosing the Spirit over the flesh. You have mistaken expression for healing. You thought that if you could just say everything, you would be free. But freedom is not found in speaking everything. It is found in surrendering everything. You are not healed by venting. You are healed by obeying. You are not delivered by expressing. You are delivered by submitting. Silence is not denial. It is devotion. It is saying, God, I will let you be my defender, my counselor, my refuge. There are women who talk themselves out of miracles. They explain what God is trying to do. They announce what God is trying to conceal. They seek validation for what God is trying to develop in secret. And then they wonder why they face resistance, misunderstanding, and spiritual opposition. Not every battle is meant to be fought in public. Not every promise is meant to be discussed. Some things must be guarded until God says release. Silence is also accountability. When you restrain your speech, you confront your heart. You cannot hide behind words. You cannot distract with explanations. You are left with God and the truth of who you are. Silence exposes pride. It reveals insecurity. It uncovers fear. And in that exposure, God heals you. He reshapes you. He aligns you. Discipline is not punishment. It is training. It is God preparing you for the weight of what He has called you to carry. A woman who masters silence masters herself. And a woman who masters herself is dangerous to the kingdom of darkness. She cannot be easily provoked. She cannot be easily manipulated. She cannot be easily distracted. She is anchored. She is focused. She is submitted. She is governed by the Spirit, not by circumstance. Her peace does not depend on external validation. Her identity does not fluctuate with opinions. Her purpose is not negotiated in conversations. She moves when God says move. She waits when God says wait. She speaks when God says speak. And she is silent when God says be still. You have been in a season of misunderstanding. People have questioned your motives, doubted your intentions, misread your actions. Your instinct was to explain, to defend, to correct. But God said, no. He said, trust me. He said, let me be your voice. He said, your life will answer what your mouth never could. And in that silence, something in you is being forged. A deeper trust, a stronger faith, a quieter confidence, a holy resolve. Silence does not mean you have nothing to say. It means you have chosen the right time to say it. It means you have learned that timing is as important as truth. Truth spoken at the wrong time can wound. Truth released without discernment can divide. Truth without love can destroy. The Spirit teaches you when to speak and when to wait. Silence is not about muting your truth. It is about aligning your truth with God's timing. You are learning to let God fight for you, to let Him vindicate you, to let Him defend your name. This is not passivity. This is partnership. You are partnering with heaven by refusing to operate in the flesh. You are aligning with the Spirit by choosing obedience over reaction. You are demonstrating faith by trusting God with your reputation, your relationships, your future. There is a confidence that comes when you no longer need to be understood by everyone, when you no longer need to be validated by every voice, when you no longer need to be approved by every room. You become secure in who God says you are. You become anchored in what He has called you to do. You become free from the burden of constant explanation. Silence becomes a sanctuary. Spiritual discipline is what separates women who are anointed from women who are effective. Many are gifted, few are governed. Many are called, few are committed. Many are passionate, few are disciplined. God is not impressed by your charisma. He is committed to your character. He is not moved by your words. He is faithful to your obedience. Silence is where character is shaped. It is where the Spirit teaches you to choose holiness when no one is watching, to choose integrity when no one is applauding, to choose faith when no one is affirming. You are in training. You are being prepared for influence that will require restraint, for leadership that will demand wisdom, for impact that will require maturity. God is building,